So you could say the general idea is to understand how genes influence human behavior. I study genes and genetic alterations that predispose to psychiatric disease, autism spectrum disorder, intellectual disability, bipolar, and others. And what we do in the basic science lab is we model these diseases in animals. So we take out the gene of the mouse genome and we look whether the mouse then recapitulates some of the human phenotypes, such as speech impairment, deficits in social interaction, cognitive disabilities, and so on. And the mouse models, they're incredibly valuable because they not only allow us to look at the phenotypes, but they also allow us to look at what the genetic alteration does to the brain's function. They allow us to study circuits that are affected, and then ultimately we can use them as a tool to study therapeutic interventions before we move them back into the clinical arena in human patients. It can be fairly challenging to study behaviors in mice because obviously their behavior is so different from ours. And we are, as humans, deficient to interpret their behavior because we interpret it from a human perspective. But there are certainly things that you can look at. So, the core features of autism that are impaired speech, repetitive behaviors, and altered social interaction, you can look at all of these in the mouse. So, for example, speech, we look at what's called ultrasonic vocalizations. So they're specific machines that can make the vocalizations that the mouse generates, can make them audible to us as humans, and there are certain patterns that we can investigate. Social interaction, we can look at whether a mouse that's engineered to have a genetic abnormality prefers to interact with an object rather than a partner mouse, or whether a mouse is, happier just being by itself rather than interacting with a partner mouse. And then there's a multitude of tests to look at cognitive abilities and the ability to learn. Also, the component of autism that's concerned with repetitive and obsessive compulsive behaviors you can study in mice.